Hey y'all, I've grown a lot of followers since my last post or my post before that, and I never acknowledged how many people actually have followed me since then. But we're like at over 20,000. That's crazy. But yeah, today I want to make a prom dress. I am 25 years old. I'm not going to prom, but when I was in high school, I wanted to make my prom dress so bad. And I was gonna have like a leather prom dress. It was gonna be like midi length and be like a bodice or like corseted, but it was gonna be all leather and stuff. And I butchered that because I didn't understand measurements and stuff like that. Today I want to make a prom dress with simple silhouettes. So it's gonna be just a spaghetti strap with a long train that everybody likes now, and it's gonna be super easy. It's only like 3 patterns you have to use, and I'm not gonna show you guys how to make the pattern. I'm just gonna make the pattern available to you, and it'll be in the description box because this is supposed to be an easy tutorial. Somebody that doesn't have enough money to buy a prom dress that they want, but they're able to get to the fabric store and use my pattern, they can make whatever dress they want. Well, pertaining to like spaghetti straps. Yeah, so we're gonna be making a prom dress today, and I already started on half the prom dress pattern. I just need to make the train part of the pattern on my computer. So I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna go run errands, and then I'll be back today to make the prom dress with you guys. Okay, you guys, I think I am done with the pattern. Let me put the exposure down for you guys. Yeah, this is the pattern. I'm going to just fix it on the artboard and then we can leave to go. But this is the front of the spaghetti strap. This is the back. And this is your train. But this is only going to be one piece because you can extend one piece so that it's a longer train. Yeah. But this is just a template for trains because you can change it however you want. Yeah, and this line is just the quarter line in case you're just trying to do like panels and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm going to fix my artboard and put it on a USB drive, and then we're gonna go run errands. Hey you guys, so I am back at home. I didn't show me being in Office Depot because my phone died and they literally took forever, and I was gonna pass out because I was so hungry. So my phone has died, but I'm back at home. I already printed out all the stuff. I'm out of breath because I ran downstairs because I forgot you guys in the car. But yeah, so now we're about to just cut out the pattern and start making a prom dress. But I have to like get my kid in like an hour, so we'll see how much we can do in an hour before Lulu gets here. Okay, so I kind of cleaned up my room, but not really. We have the pattern here. So let's see if it actually fits. I've actually never printed at Office Depot before, so I'm not even sure if they printed it out right. So we'll see. But this is the prom pattern, you guys. That's part of the train. It's really long. That's part of the train, and then this is the dress part. So we gotta cut this out. But I need to make sure it's right though before I cut it out. And also, this is only size small right now. Of course, on my pattern you'll have the other sizes to print out. But this is just only size small because I'm a size small. Or I think I'm a size small. So yeah, we're just gonna cut all this stuff out, you know? And make sure it's right. Okay guys, so this is the pattern and it's actually right. So all you have to do is just cut it out. I'm going to cut, yeah, all you have to do is cut it out. I'm actually going to cut the 2 dress pieces right here out with a 1/2 inch seam allowance around it because I don't think I added it in there. But of course when you get your pattern for my description box, I already have it on there, but I'm not sure if I added it in. So I'm going to draw that in real quick. And then cut everything out and paste these 2 pieces together because they're one giant piece because they're only the front side. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put on some music, and I know I can't play that on YouTube since it's like copyright or whatever. But yeah, I'm just gonna draw in my seam allowance and then I will meet you guys on the table. Okay, y'all, so we are at the table now. I'm just showing you the pattern pieces. The bottom one is your front piece. The top one is your back piece. Okay, the next piece is your train pattern piece, which you saw in the clip before. I had to tape it together at the quarter line. Whenever you do get your pattern, if you download it from my description box, it's going to look a little different than this. I added a few more notes onto the pattern and I will have it extended to a second length because later on in the video you'll understand why I needed to make my pattern a little longer. But moving on, you are going to need 1 yard of your sequin or lace fabric. I would suggest that you get a 4-way stretch fabric. Mine is 2-way stretch in this tutorial, which I'm just making it work. And then you're going to need 3 yards of your train fabric, which I'm using black satin for mine. You're also going to need 1 yard of your lining fabric. This is just stretch cotton. And then you'll need, I think I got like 2 yards of this fold over elastic in the color black. You can get it in different colors if you order it on Amazon. You'll need basic sewing thread. You'll need an invisible zipper. I believe I bought 5 or 6 yards of this horsehair trim, and you will need this for your train. And then also you're going to need a seam ripper because you're fitting it to your size. And then if you're using sequin fabric, I would suggest getting leather needles. And since your fabric is a 4-way stretch, you will need the stretch serger thread. So I'm going to do something different on this tutorial. I'm actually going to show you guys how I cut out my fabric. I don't know why some people want to see this part, but hey, whatever, I'm going to throw it in here. I'm trying to find the stretchiest direction on my fabric because again, it was a 2-way stretch. If you have 4-way stretch fabric, it's not going to matter. You can just place the fabric how you want your pattern to be, but I'm just folding my fabric so that it's not wasting fabric. This first piece has to be on fold, so I'm just pinning that down and conserving as much of my fabric that I got because I only have a yard. And I'm just pinning it down and I'm just going to cut it out. And I'm going to repeat those same steps for my back of my dress and then for my train too. Okay, after cutting out my front, I'm just readjusting my fabric so that I'm conserving it instead of wasting it and pinning my back down on fold as well. And then I'm just going to cut it out. Okay, so your back piece should look something like this. Off camera, this pattern piece got altered and it's a little curved at the top now. It's not so straight, so don't mind that when you download your pattern. But your back should look like this and your front piece should look like this as well. But just keep in mind that there are some alterations to this pattern because this was just a trial dress. I'm not actually going to prom. I just wanted to make a pattern for you guys, for those of you that are going to prom. And then next, I just repeated those same steps for the lining fabric. Oh my gosh, my room looks so dirty. Anyway, I am folding my fabric hamburger wise so that I can place down the train pattern. It's actually on fold, so where you see that C part, it's on fold right there. And then I'm going to draw out on the other end the train because I want it to be a little bit longer in the back. The left side of the pattern is your center back seam. That's where you'll extend your train so that it can be longer in the back and shorter in the front. And you can see I just drew it in and now I'm cutting it out. Okay, so we're done cutting out all of our fabrics. Right now, I'm just showing you what my back piece looks like with my lining and my sequin fabric looks together. I like how it looks, so I'm going to show you guys what the front looks like with the lining underneath it. So grab your front piece and we're going to place it front side up, and grab your back piece and place it front side down. So you're just sandwiching it together. And I'm just showing you how it's supposed to be laid out. And then I'm grabbing the zippers. So you just need to choose a side that you want to put your zipper on and then pin the opposite side closed. And that's what I'm showing you right now. And then on the side that you are putting your zipper, you need to figure out how long you want your zipper to be and then pin a little portion of your fabric down like I'm showing you here. You're going to need to put your stretch serger thread on your bottom of your sewing machine. And for the top thread, you can use regular thread. You just need to make sure that your bottom thread is the serger thread. And then you're just going to sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Also, you guys, if you are using sequin fabric, make sure that you're using that leather needle that I suggested in your materials list. Sequin fabric will tear up your home sewing machine, so use a leather needle. Since we're making a prom dress, you want it to look elegant, so we're going to be using a invisible zipper, but we are going to need to iron your invisible zipper teeth open. I hope the camera can show what I'm meaning. You're just going to be pressing the zipper teeth like flat, completely flat, so that you're able to sew it, because naturally it curves in and you won't be able to get close to your zipper teeth. I'm saying teeth a lot, but if you're a basic sewer, you should know what I'm talking about, or you should Google that. I'll be putting a invisible zipper tutorial down below inside my description box for those of you that need a little bit more direction on this. Alrighty, so this is what your dress should look like. You should already sewn your side seam and the little portion of your side seam where your zipper is supposed to go. I'm placing the zipper facing downward, and we're just gonna base stitch this zipper in because we need to try it on. So placing your zipper downward, your teeth should be facing into your fabric. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, your teeth should be placing inside the fabric, and your zipper seam allowance should match your dress seam allowance. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer for you guys, but that's as easy as I can explain it. Again, I will have a invisible zipper tutorial down in the description box for you guys to look at if you need a little bit more direction than I can give you, because this is hard to explain. After pinning down your zipper, it's going to look something like this. We are going to base stitch this zipper down, and we're going to sew close to the zipper teeth. I'm going to show you guys on your sewing machine. You see that foot that we have right now? That's your basic sewing foot. You need to change that to your zipper foot. All your machines have it. Unless you lost it, then it's going to be a little bit harder for you to sew your zipper down. And I'm just adjusting my needle. Again, it's still the leather needle that I'm using right now, and I'm just going to sew as close to my zipper teeth as I possibly can. This is in hyper speed right now, so it looks like I'm skipping around, but I'm not. I don't know why it's jumping around like that, but on my actual fabric, it sewed the correct stitch. So I'm just sewing close to my zipper teeth. And then I'm going to back stitch where the end of my seam allowance is, and I'm going to sew the other side. Right here, I'm just showing you, oh my gosh, I cannot say anything with an S. I'm just showing you how close your stitch should be on your fabric, and then I'm just going to sew the other side, like I said. Okay, you guys, sorry if my hair looks super crazy. I just threw on a wig just so I can show you guys this dress. Just straight off the basic pattern. And if I'm wobbling a lot, obviously I'm holding a thick camera, like, you know. But yeah, so already just trying it on first try after you put in the zipper. I want to take it in some because my dress, I can give my dress a little bit more shape right here on my waist. And so I'm going to take that out on this side because it has a zipper. And you see how it's still a little wobbly right here where the zipper is. I'm going to fix that by, it's just a pin poking me. I'm going to fix that. Oh, it's poking me so bad. I'm going to fix that by taking it in on the sides right here. And then also what I want to change on my pattern, and you guys do this when you make it too, because the pattern is just a template. It's not finished product because it needs to fit to your size. So for my size, from a size small, I need to take it in a little bit more right here. And then to accentuate my booty area, because right now it's just looking like, where you at? I want to take it in right here on my sides so that I can make me a butt. So I'm gonna pin some right here, take out some right here, and take out some right here so that I can give myself a booty. And when I pull it in some right here too, it's gonna carve in my back. Okay, my kid. Okay, Lulu. Oh God, you brought all your dresses. Okay. Okay. Yeah, she thinks she's making dresses too.
Mommy,
yes. Zip it up.
Zip it up.
Okay. Hold on. There you go.
Now it's fit.
Yeah. I made her dress, by the way. But as far as like the top area, you see that I pinned it to my bra so that I pinned it to my bra so you can see where it's supposed to lay. I have all this extra fabric right here, and I have it on the other side too. My boobs aren't that big, so I'm gonna have to take out my zipper probably to right about here and take out all that extra fabric. Like, everybody's boobs are different, whether you're size small, medium, large, you know, like everybody's different. So you're gonna have to take out that extra fabric right there so that it's more form-fitting. See the difference? Then this, yeah. So I need to take that out on both sides. So that's what I'm gonna show you guys on the table, how to alter your pattern now once you create the base. So, to the table. And Lulu's gonna stay down here and play Twister. Alright, so off camera, I pinned all those sections that I was talking about that didn't fit correctly. And I'm showing you where my pins are on my zipper. And I am just going to mark in, like, really, really hard where all my pins are so that I can see where I'm supposed to sew and where I'm supposed to cut. So I'm just marking in as much as I can. Of course, if you don't have a knit fabric like mine, that literally has a net as the fabric, if yours is more solid, you'll be able to see your, like, markings a little bit better than me. But I can't see mine, so I just have to keep jamming in my chalk until I can see it. After I place all my chalk marks onto my fabric, I am going to start taking out some of my zipper, because remember how I told you at the boob part, it was like hanging out underneath my arms. I'm going to correct that by moving my zipper where I put my pins and my markings. So right now I'm just seam ripping out my seams. Of course, if you base stitch your zipper, it will be a little bit easier for you to take this out. And right here, you can't really see where I marked my chalk. It's very faint, but I'm just gonna move my zipper over where I marked my chalk. And my zipper teeth are gonna lay directly on that line. And you should do the same thing on your fabric. And then I'm gonna repeat the same thing onto the other side of my zipper. Alright, so we just finished pinning down the zipper right here. I'm going to now move on to the other side that I put pins that I need to alter. So I'm just taking out all the pins right now, and I flip my fabric inside out because you need to sew it inside out. And I'm just repinning where my marks are. Okay, now that I've repinned on the wrong side of the fabric, I'm just going to take my chalk and draw back out my line that I need to sew onto. And this is like a overhead view. And then I'm just going to match those same marks onto my lining pieces that we haven't sewn yet. This part is just easier than making 2 dresses and having to alter 2 dresses. You only need to alter 1 and recut your lining. Right here, I'm just marking on the front piece of my lining because I can transfer these lines to the back piece later on, which I'll show you. After that, then you're just going to sew your seam allowance on the marked lines that you made onto your sequin or lace fabric, like I'm showing here. After all of that, you're going to have sequins all over the place. Make sure you have something to clean it up or a vacuum. But then you just flip your dress right side out and it should look something like this after those recent steps. Now that we're done with the shell of the sequin fabric, we're going to work on the lining pieces, and you're just going to place your lining pieces together and then pin where you marked your chalk markings from earlier. On the side where the zipper goes, I'm only going to pin the bottom part where my seam allowance is supposed to go. And then at the top, I'm actually going to just cut off that extra seam allowance that we don't need because that's where the zipper is supposed to be. After that, I will just pin the other side of my fabric, and I will be adding in that 1/2 inch seam allowance that's on my hip right there. Even though there isn't a mark, I pinned in where it's actually supposed to go. Then you'll need to stitch on your line that you created with your pins. After sewing, you probably don't have to do this step if you don't want to, but I'm just going to cut off that extra seam allowance that I don't need. Alrighty, so after cutting, your fabric should look like this. It's wrong side out right now, and then you'll need to grab your fashion fabric and you'll be placing in your lining into your other piece of your dress. And you want to make sure that all your seams are smushed together. So you can see that the sequin fabric is right side out and my lining is wrong side out, and you need to place it in together like that, because you don't want any of your seams to show from the inside of your finished dress. So we're just enclosing all of those seams together. So we're going to just match up our top of our dress together at the neck and the bust area, match it up in the back, and we're just going to pin those pieces together because we're going to do a base stitch so that it can stay together when we put on our trim. Where the zipper and the lining are matching up, you just need to fold over your lining at a 1/2 inch seam allowance and place it against the zipper. And I'm just doing that right now on both sides of my zippers. I'm just going to continue pinning the back of the dress at the top and on the sides. And then we are going to start pinning down our zipper because we're going to do all of this in one giant seam. So I'm just folding over my 1/2 inch seam allowance and placing it on my zipper. After you're done pinning one side, you need to repeat the same thing on the other side of the zipper. I don't know what my clip is for that part, but yeah, I repeated the same thing on the other side of the zipper. And then you will just need to stitch from zipper to the top of your dress to the other end of the other side of the zipper. Just one giant long seam. I would suggest starting at the zipper and then ending on the other side of the zipper. So this is what the top of your dress should look like, and you have now enclosed your lining on your zipper and you have base stitched the top of your fabric so it doesn't move. And we're now going to use our fold over elastic to finish the edges. I'm going to start on the side where the zipper is, right underneath on your armpit. You'll be placing your fold over elastic right here, but first you'll need to zip up your zipper and cut off that extra zipper piece and true that line where your arm is. You see that part of my top that's protruding out? We need to even that part out. So I'm just going to cut that part off. And then I will unzip it and place my fold over elastic on it. On your fold over elastic, I just cut the tip into a triangle shape and just fold it over, and then I am just going to pin it onto my fabric like I'm showing you here. I decided on my dress that I wanted the dull side of the elastic to show, not the shiny side. I just felt like the shiny side looked a little cheap to me, even though this is just a fake dress that I'm just making just to make. After you pin that little section, you will now need to work onto the back of your fabric. We are not going to add elastic right now to the neck part in the front, only to the back and to the arm side. It's just going to be one long piece together, and the same thing we did for the other side of the zipper. You just fold it over and then pin it on to your fabric, and you should be sandwiching in all the pieces together. Next, you are going to sew a 1/4 seam allowance on top of your fold over elastic so that it can stay in place. Personally, I don't want the top of my dress to be stretchy, so I changed the bobbin thread for the bottom to the regular sewing thread, not the stretch serger thread. And then I just sewed that at a 1/4 seam allowance. All right, y'all, so we're getting closer to the end. This is what the end of your folder elastic should look like. And now we're gonna add the fold over elastic to the top part of your dress. I'm just gonna fold it in half so I can find the center of my neckline. And I'm just gonna place a pin right here. And off camera, I measured how long I wanted my straps to be. It's gonna be a continuous strap. So I needed to make sure that I made it long enough. But yeah, I'm just gonna fold over my elastic and find the center of that, and then I'm gonna place the fold over elastic onto my fabric like we did in the steps before, and just pin it closed. One thing that we're gonna do differently on this part is that we are going to just fold over the elastic on the ends. Once you're done pinning that, then you will sew the same thing at a 1/4 seam allowance, starting from one end of your strap to the other end of your strap. After you're done sewing, your straps will look like this. And you will need to find the center of the back of your dress, and I just folded it over seam to seam, side seam to side seam, and found the center. And then I'm going to take my measuring tape and I'm going to measure about 2.5 to 3 inches. I can't remember which one I did. I changed it around a few times, but 2.5 to 3 inches apart from that center, and place your strap right there. And you just need to pin just the end of the strap onto your fold over elastic. And just for professionalism, I'm going to add in my clothing label too. Since the ends of the straps are so tiny, you just need to do like one very tiny stitch onto that, and then stitch down the sides of your clothing label if you have a clothing label. After sewing those things down, it should look something like this, and it looks super good right now. Now the only thing we need to do is our train. Alright, so moving on to the train part, I'm just right now just showing you what the dress looks like. Alright, so the train piece on my table looks like a lot. It's eating up everything. Your train is already folded in half because the pattern is the full train. But we're just gonna fold it right sides together, and we are gonna pin close the seam allowance. And then I will have a clip on like right after this that shows you the train on the floor. Okay, so this is the train laid out on the ground. At the top is where the fold is, which is for the front of your dress. And where you see the pins, which I know it might be a little bit hard to see right now, but where the pins is where the center back of your dress is. It's one full train into one piece. And I just pinned it down on the side, and you will sew that at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, you guys, so working on the dress. Like I said, you have to try it on. All of this part is done. It's just the train that's going on. I wish I would have made this part of the dress probably like 3 more inches longer. So I'm gonna add some more fabric to this so that the dress is longer. This part of the dress is longer. And then we will redo the train part. But so I did a recut of it, made it longer. So now we can add the train to the bottom. So on your pattern, we'll have the shorter version, and I'll have the longer version, and then I'll have a train piece. So yeah, the other one wasn't gonna work for a long train. It will work for a tulle. I just pinned the train on it really fast. This is what the dress looks like so far. I really like it. And that's the train. I think this is a good length. This part's a little too long, but I'm gonna cut it. But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna go back up to the table and finish up the dress. For those of you that have size medium, large, and extra large, you will need to measure the bottom of your dress. I'm just going to demonstrate it on my size small. Measure the bottom of your dress, and then on your train pattern, you're going to need to alter yours so that your hole can fit your dress. And the radius circle right now it matches the size small, but on yours, you're going to need to alter it. So whatever your length is, you need to make the opening of your train the same length. So you will just need to measure it, make sure it matches, and mark with your chalk how much you need to cut off, like I'm showing you right here. And then you will just chop off that part of the fabric that you don't need, and it should match the bottom of your dress. Okay, so just moving on. I'm just going to find the center and the side seams of my fabric, so I just fold it, make a marking, fold it over again, make a marking, and then I'm going to match it on my side seams, the center front of my dress, and the center back of my dress. And I would just follow what I'm doing on screen. It'll be a lot easier for you to just match the side seams of your dress to the side seams of your train fabric. And you would just place that inside, put right sides together, and then pin on the wrong side of all the fabrics. Right here, I just matched at the center back and then started pinning the side seams. And I'm just going to pin around in the circle circumference. And then I will sew that at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. If you have a serger, you could serge this part. I didn't pull out my serger for this tutorial because some people don't have one. But if you want to make a professional dress, I would suggest serging this part or doing the fold over elastic method after you sew this seam. Again, you will sew this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Right here, I am just cutting off all the frayed edges and cutting off all the sequins that are poking out. I would do the fold over elastic method on this if you're using sequin fabric, or if you have lace fabric, you can just serge it to finish the edges. But I didn't have any more fold over elastic once we got to this part, and I'm not putting sequin under my serger so it can break. But anyway, this is what the train in the dress looks like. As I mentioned in my vlog clip, my train was just a little bit too long, so I'm going to measure where I pinned where I liked the length, and it was actually about 5 inches. So I'm going to mark 5 inches all the way around my train, the whole circumference of the train, and just mark it, and then I'm going to cut that extra fabric off. For the final steps of the dress, we are going to need to attach the horsehair fabric or horsehair trim to the bottom of your dress. I will cut off that frayed edge, and we're actually going to need to finish the edge since your train is dragging on the floor. This will start unraveling. So I just took some elastic that I had, and I am just going to make a casing on the end of the horsehair trim. And it's really simple. You just need to do just a straight stitch across it. After sewing, the end of your horsehair should look something like that, and it should look clean. And it's okay if it's a little wonky because it'll be covered up anyway. But you're gonna place that end of your horsehair onto your fabric like I'm showing you right here. you're just going to pin it down on the edge and continue to pin down the entire horsehair onto your entire train on the edge. For another sewing tip, I would suggest buying a lot of yards of the horsehair. It's only like $1 a yard, so I bought about 6 yards. I would suggest getting like 6 or 7 yards just to make sure that you have enough, because when you run out, you're going to be so frustrated on how to finish it. When you get to the other end where you began on your horsehair trim, you're just going to overlap it a little bit over where you first began, and you will just cut it off. All of the frayed edge on this end of the piece, it'll get like encased. You'll see what's going to happen later. But you will just sew this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance on your sewing machine all the way around your train. Alright, so we're really almost done. This is the last step that you need to take on your train, and we are just going to fold over our horsehair, and we are going to stitch it at the other end of the horsehair, if that makes sense to you. Just follow what I'm doing on the screen. I don't know what words to describe it. But yeah, you're just going to fold it over, and it's going to give it like a clean edge. And on the other end of the horsehair where I'm pinning, you will be sewing right there at a 1/2 inch seam allowance as well. And this is really the last step for that. So if you guys have any suggestions that you will want me to do for future videos, because it is turning into summertime, so I'm planning on swimsuit tutorials. I'm planning on like little cute tops, maybe some shorts, like random things that people will wear for the summertime. I'm planning those, but if you have any suggestions, please leave them down below in the comment box. There will be the link for this pattern as well in the comment box below. I hope this tutorial was very helpful to anybody that is trying to make a prom dress at the last minute, or anybody that's making a prom dress for a client. I know a lot of people love prom season because you can get a lot of extra coin in your pocket. But right now, I'm going to do my hair, and this video is sponsored by UNice Hair because it's prom time and you're trying to look good. And I am using my hair from my last video, and I'll leave all those links in the description box as well. And I was trying to go for more of a salon afro type look, so I'm just going to wand curl my hair, and I did like a smoky eye with a nude lip, and I just want to keep my makeup not so flashy since my dress is sequins. But even though I still would be flashy anyway, but for this video I got a little bit lazy and the hair took forever, so I like rushed my makeup. But anyway, I'm just gonna do wand curls, and I'm gonna hyper speed this up because this literally took forever to do. But yeah, I really like how my hair turned out. I am planning on wearing this again another time because this is a wig, because in my last video I made this hair into a wig. But I really like my hair, I really like my makeup, and I really love my dress. I wish I would have bought some jewelry to style the dress a little bit better. But yeah, this is what my hair looks like, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial, because next week's my birthday, so I'm dropping something birthday related for y'all. Anyway, bye!